Oh, alright. Where were we? The fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage or we would have all seen. I washed my hands, Cash. I just got water. I didn't go to the bathroom, Cash. Lo and behold, in truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, arg, there was no one else inside that carriage. The man's hands were covered in blood. How much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it? Did I wash my hands? No, Cash, I did not wash my hands while getting water. Where do I get my water from? Oh, the toilet, friend. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. Victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case. Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel. It really is, though? What exactly did he say? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot different here. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe the victim stabbed himself. You never know. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. Suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. Didn't actually see anything myself, not until I heard that scream. Fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen. Yeah, the both hands covered in blood thing is going to be really important, because I believe that they did see both, like both of these guys saw both hands covered in blood, which means that someone else did the murder. No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record. Nevertheless, I know what I saw and I stand by it. This man had blood on both his hands. He's defiant even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? Your reasoning is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. That is incorrect, Van Zeeks. You're an idiot. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused's fingers. There's no proof of that.
Hold it!
Hold it. Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as well you know. Arg. For crying out loud, we all know that no one else could possibly have done it. I was trying to save us all some time. Well, you idiot. You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? Had you hoped to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty? Right, well, arg. That's not what I was hoping for. Arg. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the derby. That's all. You're always a horse betting guy. I was gonna win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend that's a sure thing. Hey, fair play. Don't do it, man. You're gonna... Oh, no. He's gonna lose his house. A little guinea or 10. I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend. You may have revealed rather more of your character than you bargained for, sir. Proceed to the next witness. I feel like we could call in this witness character at some point. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. Tell me more. You definitely saw that too. Blood on both hands? Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're gonna say when one of Mr. McGilded's gloves has any signs of blood on it. I gotta be honest with you, Tip's Fedora here I like more. Like, of the characters in this case, this guy is my favorite. I really like this guy. I wish his hat would stop falling off, though. The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilded standing by the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. Whoa! That's correct, sir, and I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. Look at the dark-colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilded's gloved hands. What the fuck? Because that is very strange. Can you please submit that to evidence? That testimony, please? I feel like that's important. This is an interesting one. I don't know. I mean, it clearly is leading to another person there, right? But how? You didn't see anything. Oh, yes, sir. That is to say, no, sir, I didn't. Sorry about what I said before, sir. It was very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir? I know what you're insinuating, but I wasn't making up stories. That you saw nothing isn't right either. Saw nothing at all. Beppo, what the fuck? At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets. Ryunosuke, he said moments ago he saw the man on the floor getting stabbed. Oh, please, you didn't even see that. It was so cold. It was all I could do to keep from passing out. My head was frozen solid. Seemed prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. I agree, Van Zeeks. Beppo is dead. We have killed this man. Can't have been anyone else inside that carriage or we all would have seen. Everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight of the roof of the omnibus. That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. I remember I was shivering, it was so bitter. Rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. He's gonna get tried for perjury, fired, and murdered. I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Yeah, why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. That's interesting. Public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yeah, it was Mr. Fairplay that said that. I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off, so I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring long and hard. Precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. That's a fair. Unequivocal. Not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? I'm gonna go back in this thing. Ah, no! Okay. I mean... Oh, what's this? This seat has a handle, it seems. Oh. There is no way someone was hiding in here, right? Tell me there was no way. Look at how claustrophobic this is. No way someone was in here. Looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Heating tubs, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. It's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things. Doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow their luggage. I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway. I didn't see that the first time. I definitely feel like there's a way that you could see in here. I can't really go up top, can I? You can kind of. You can get like an idea. Right? If they were sitting in the front, they would not be able to see it. I guess, like, maybe. Phoenix, right, omnibus? I'm gonna go ahead and save again. I feel like they might not have been able to. I feel like they could not see it all, I agree. I'm going to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Yeah. In that case, there's a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. By golly. Obviously at this stage we can't say for sure, but the possibility cannot be denied at the time of the incident there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Not hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. Identify the area on the cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting the extra passenger could have been situated? It's here, right? This is the one? Yeah, it's. I think this is the one. It was opposite for the pull-up seat. It's the other side? Really? Fish, thanks for the 300 bits. Extra biddies for the homie. Appreciate it. Oh, they wouldn't have been able to see underneath of them. You're right. That's weird though, because when they've shown this angle from before, they show them in here. But yeah, you're right, you're right. If you're sitting here, he wouldn't see here. He would be able to see here. But then this guy on the left wouldn't have been able to see, or would be able to see here, but not here, I feel like. Oh well, I'll present it here. Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Which means the visible part of the cabin which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here. Ah. Yeah, Dagon, I was with you on the seat with the container in it, but they don't want you to go with that, it looks like. That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. I mean, didn't he, like, look in there, though, I feel like? I feel like he said he looked in there. It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. And Zeeks is correct here. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. Rejoinder. A reply, especially a sharp or witty one. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel, unless you're able to put a name to the mysterious passenger to whom you allude. No? Who could it have been? It was Male Strongheart. No, I have fucking no idea. There is no way you can know who this is. I have literally no idea. As a proud citizen of the Japanese Empire, I look to the sky and walk on, making sure all signs of tears are gone. I'm gonna fucking lie, Sasato? Go on. I'm just gonna lie to him, Sasato? Alright, Sasato, I guess I'm gonna lie. The defense would like to put forward a name. Okay. You are a fool. I agree, Van Zeeks. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. Toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. It's me. Person occupying the seat from the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... Okay, so of the options, it has to be Von Zeeks, right? Because, okay, so let's go through all the options here. Was it Sasato? Strong maybe. Probably not this guy. Was it my client? No. Was it the victim? No. Was it Beppo, Bruce Fairplay, or Lady First, the three people on trial saying that they saw in there? No. So it has to be Van Zeeks, and the reason you're supposed to get to this point is because we're going to imply that he did it and then came out of retirement to prosecute the case. Ooh, it could be Magnus. You know what? It could... Oh, yeah, because they saw the killer. Oh, you guys are so right. They said they saw the killer. So if they saw the killer, it had to be Magnus who was sitting there, right? Because they didn't see him. Okay, I like that more.
Take that!
You guys are geniuses. The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witness on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilden. Mr. McGilden? What are you playing at?
Objection!
Hey! Chill, dude. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. People, where'd the bottle go? Van Zeeks? Van Zeeks, where'd the bottle go? It has been less than a few seconds. Where'd it go? Van Zeeks? People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. Man, this guy's from London, and he's saying this shit to me. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built. But that premise may be wrong. If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilden, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. Yeah, they stabbed forward. We talked about this at the fucking start, dude. Oh, okay, no, never mind. The defendant's gloves, apparently. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim. Yeah, we know the truth to be otherwise, only one glove bears the remains. The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct and their testimony reveals that. There was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify, and the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands. And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Yeah, of course. Extraordinary. This is the kickflip guy here. Damn, Cranberry's the kickflip guy? I guess it's true. Ordar! 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 What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
Defense's postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused. Not really. When elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them though. That's right, both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. What particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. Come on, dude. style of that makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. Come on, you could have been. Because if there had been, the accused Mr. McGilded would undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. You know, that's a good point, actually. Unless you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. He was drugged, and that the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Ah. I hope we see Sholmes somewhere in this case. I miss him. He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Order! There is clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring Mr. McGilded to the stand. Call in the prosecution objects? Yeah, for what? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. Some reason why he was unable to speak freely. Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out that the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel to the defense, what is your opinion? My lord, I don't really care. Yeah, give me his testimony. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. Yeah, he might be protecting someone. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. Protecting the real murderer, or he was sleeping. Yeah, I think this was like a murder that was gonna get framed onto McGilded. Right? To like take it out. I guess fair play wasn't actually involved though. Hear the opinion of the jury? I need a little time to consider. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say? Oh yes, that would be lovely. I thought you hated him now, lady. Jury says the man must be heard. Now let's get it. Yeah, I think that this is gonna be there was another victim. If he was trying to protect someone, I feel like he would just be going down for this, right? If he was trying to protect someone, he would just be taking the fall. He'd say he did it. But he's not saying he did it, so I don't think so. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Maybe. Probably not. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? To be sure I have, my lord. Sorry, he's from Boston. I actually like McGilded. He doesn't seem evil. Look at him, he's look at his face. Does this look like someone who would do a cool murder or extort people for billions? Yeah, cool hat too. And listen to this banger music. He's from Boston, your hometown. At least they say he's from London, Dagon, but listen to how he talks. Tell me this guy's not from Boston. He does look a little like Willy Wonka, that's true as well. First is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. The second, if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police? Begad, no, 'tis not in my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell yous all, or keep me mouth shut? You ran out of R's in Boston. Tough, Dagon. He says yous, though. Yeah, also, tell me what, brother? You're about to get murdered. You're about to fry, dude. The fine fella representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. Why did you not tell me this? And it was me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. Who are you? What's wrong with this guy? What the fuck? What the fuck? You... what? Mr. McGilded, you helped someone get away with murder? No, Magnus McGilded, that convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zeeks. And I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason. He do be having a good reason, though. Which was... well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and not in any way involved, do you see? Did you kill him? Did you stab that man, McGilded? Did you murder the victim? If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this here courtroom just like me, so who killed him? I was only trying to spare her that. Did you kill this man, McGilded? Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged. Did you do a murder? Cranberry, you did the murder? Objection. I don't believe you, Cranberry. I don't think you did the murder. Who was this young child of whom you speak? That I don't know. He doesn't know? The wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since. Oh my god, it was a child. She was hiding in the freaking... she was hiding in the thing. Absolutely no reason to believe this man. Prosecution calls for witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak listening to the proceedings. What? What? What is going on? We got smoke bombed? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. Is he making a getaway in the omnibus? Did he hop into the carriage? I hereby call an emergency recess. Oh, you don't think we should go on, Judge? Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in the custody and clear the courtroom. Terrorist pushing B. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff, amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that for the time being, at least, the trial was suspended. What the fuck? Man, I had a few ideas of where they were gonna go with that. Massive smoke bomb causing a fire, filling the whole courtroom, forcing an evacuation. I didn't expect that one. That was not on my expectations list. Good shit, developers. 18th of February, 12:52 p.m. Defendant's antechamber. What the fuck just happened? Mr. Naruhodo, I managed to find out what happened. Yosusato, what happened? I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that reveals or releases smoke. It does actually sound like something a ninja would use. Just making sure everything was safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. Can we please talk to the defendant? Yeah, are we sure Van Zeeks didn't cause this when he threw his glass into the fucking fire? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom. Ooh. It's a young girl of around 15. If it's Giselle Brett, I'm gonna go fucking ballistic if it's Giselle Brett. He wasn't lying. What became of Mr. McGilded? There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. Summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber. along with a young girl. Now, who is she? What was she doing here? She was taking a huge risk, and for what? I'm actually just gonna be mad if it's Giselle Brett, though. I really don't want it to be her, because that's gonna be boring. Girl boss moment. Yeah, she girl bossed way too hard. Yeah, this does fuck up the 20 pence also, because now what did she do? She got on there for free? According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, it's Sholmes in disguise. That would be excellent. Zale was 24. Oh, I couldn't remember how old she was. A total of 20 pence, but now it seems there were 5 passengers, which means the figures don't work again. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Can I talk to anyone, please? Give me like 5 minutes. Whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify. Can't imagine what she's gonna say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. Dude, she could have just left. All you had to do was not throw a smoke bomb. Just don't throw the smoke bomb. Is this trial in her book that was released 50 years ago? But she said that her book just answers everything, so I think it's just a magic book. Cash, I want you to remember she's 15. Cash, alert, she's 15. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. For that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGill. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks. I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled proceedings earlier. Advanced form of smoke grenade, the type employed by the army. It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. It now occupies the stand. Your name, girl. Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? If I may, my lord. I think perhaps I ought to explain here. Tell me that's not something that someone from Boston would say, daggone. I think perhaps I ought to explain here. I don't know why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place and why she tried to bolt like that. It's all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Huh? Yeah, maybe she's mute. That'd be kind of cool. Interesting twists. Here and perhaps both have R's in them. That's true. Here and how would you say perhaps without the R? Perhaps? You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. The defense lawyer needs that in. Perhaps. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Yo, what the hell, McGilden? Trying to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. What? Who stabbed him? So she was stowed away on the omnibus, 100%. The last was the 5th passenger, my lord. 100% she was a stowaway in the little compartment. Hence may now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready? Absolutely not. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Van Zeeks, what the fuck do you think? Well, if that's a man, I mean, they keep calling her a lass, and it's the young girl. We're having some frames, I see. Carter has deigned that I no longer need these frames. I didn't need them, Charter. It's okay. Ah, thank you. How kind of you to return to me my frames charter. Great job. On the name question, I'm just gonna press them on each one of these.
Hold it!
Hold it. And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either. He was the first one on board, okay. That's why I took the backside as I did. 'Tis most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the backseat? No, I think that, Bob, I think they were both sitting on the one that was not here. Let me actually, I want to illustrate this because I want to confirm this for myself, right? So, I did it again. I keep trying to right click to look around. I'm in. So, the victim was here, Magnus was here. Magnus couldn't be seen. No, we just posed that he could be seen, if you remember. We posed to the defendant that the person they were seeing that was sitting next to this guy was Magnus, right? Also, there's blood on the floor that I can't really look at. Please, I want to look at his blood. Ah, I can look at his blood, actually. That's blood, isn't it? Is something wrong? Just so the bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet Van Zieks has made no mention of it. Yeah. Maybe he wants to slurp that up. This was on the other seat and the murderer was next to the victim? Oh, were we saying that Magnus was sitting over here? And the murderer was sitting next to him? I thought we said that Magnus was sitting next to him, but you're right, that doesn't make any sense. When we picked where we wanted him to be, but no, when we picked let me get the orientation right. Ah, you're right. It was over here. This is the back seat. This is the front. Okay. So we're saying Magnus was here. Let me go in again. We're saying Magnus was on the right one here. I want to get this right in my mind. And just to confirm. Yeah, so he was here in the backseat, and the backseat is where the compartment is. What do you meant by the backseat? This is how you earlier described it. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable and where I feel the most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Okay. Alright, so I'm with you here. Begorra, a loud thud, and a wee scream. What's the loud thud? Tell me about the loud thud, please. Loud thud and a scream. That's right, how can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground. Ah. The sound of Mr. Mason falling to the ground from being stabbed. Remember, I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say, and when the sound woke me, I opened my eyes, and there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fella on the floor. Huh. And the seats above you on the roof deck. Not above me, 'twas from inside the cabin. Holding all together, thinking about the scream, I was too stunned about the desperate sight before my eyes. Yo, what the fuck? Buck collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up in the seat. Extremely strange thing to do. So the thud was the body hitting the floor, and the scream we don't know, he's not certain on. You sat him up, the victim. That I did on the seat across from me. As I said, I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. You wouldn't leave a dead man lying on the floor, now would you? How did he sit him up with only getting blood on one glove? Isn't that a little hard to believe? I'm with you, Van Zieks. Ara, Lord Van Zieks. Now why would that be? Like to find a man laying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabin. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Yeah, we've established that Mr. McGilded's a leech. Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. Business of lending money at exorbitant rates. Fortunately, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me as dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Gonna leave him there? Since alive, no, I was always intended to report it, so I was. And a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. Oh, he's supposed to be Irish, Swampus? Oh, he's supposed to be Irish. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than from Boston. Right you are, there were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got the meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yeah, maybe. Screaming says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. Right, because if he heard a scream at the same time as the victim collapsing, would that have been Tip's Fedora? I'm not sure. Trying to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? It was a child curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
Hold it!
Afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. As far as I could see, that is. 'Tis a queer ting, the wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Ah, she was in the thing. How the hell did she get out of it? I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting. I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. We can examine the omnibus ourselves, but I found this, yeah. Be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. I found it already. Does America exist yet? In like the 18 to 1900s? Yeah, I think so. I think they actually reference America in this one at one point.
Hold it!
Alright, tell me more about this child, please. You say she was hiding herself. That's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball when our eyes met. Well, my heart nearly stopped beating in me chest. It's 15, brother. Bill and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin wag with her. You sat her next to a dead man? What the fuck, dude? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fella's voice this time. Oh, so the first scream is an unknown scream. Interesting. The murder was his sentient flatulence. Yeah, it pulled a knife. You know how it goes. That scream was Mr. First, yeah. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witness did not, in fact, see you at all. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was, in fact, this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage, out of sight. I'm with you. Certainly plausible the defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. I've heard enough as well. Please tell me what, who stabbed him? Who's the girl? Who did the stab? Talk to me. Her name is Gina Lestrade. Gina Lestrade. Nosen, is this a joke name? Nosen always gets the joke names. Is this a joke name, Nosen? This is more Herlock Sholmes. It's like Lena Gistrad, a big name. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. Same as some police detective who works with Sherlock Holmes. Ah, okay, there you go. Ah, she's a pickpocket. This girl here, a petty thief? I can't believe it. Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Pardon? What? She had a gun? How dare you? What is the meaning of this? Where'd she go? Open your eyes. I'm over here. You can't do that, lady. Yeah, absolute girl boss moment, Squampus. Quick. I want to pause here for a second. I want to listen to our theme for a second, if you don't mind. Ooh, it keeps going. Wait, this is so good. Holy shit. Alright, I gotta stop myself. This is a banger track though. Holy shit. The soundtrack of this game has been stellar. I'm over E. Good gracious, how? Why'd she do this? Oh my god, Dusk, you're right. This is Little Fade. She is a British street urchin. I know what you are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on. That's what's in your heads, ain't it? Nah, I mean, not really. Don't shoot me with your fart cloud. I don't like this. Why do you have a gun? Knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. I like this coin trick. I wish I could do this shit. Let me guess. You don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day down where they keep the four-wheeled drags. Maybe don't say in a court of law, yeah, this thing, I stole it. Probably not a good idea in the court of law to say you stole this thing in your hands. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best. Dude, I love when they say, isn't it? Real tragic, isn't it? Arg, do not wave that thing in my direction again. That's right, that has Plink. Yo, she loves Plink the most. So, you admit you were riding the omnibus in the night in question. It's alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Yeah, third chalice, yep. Alright, yeah, it's just like the Irishman said. Oh, he's Irish. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in the case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. Are you gonna tell me there was a sixth passenger? Alright, if I have to. What the girl saw. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles last night. I'll tell ya, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then, after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out me skin, I did, and the scream just came out. You heard a loud bang? Because of that, this swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. Yes, he let you go. I don't understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded. Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. Because she was under him. As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. Think a demonstration is called for? Huh? Alright, lady, I need you to get in this now. It does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature. Right, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there because I parked myself on the seat for the duration. So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined with all the time I knew she was innocent. Wasn't there stuff in there? There was stuff in there, but I guess there is not anymore. Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question. You see, Your Honor, I am Irish, and I don't care about what you have to say. That's my defense. Not at all, my lord. Not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. Who killed him? So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of the less fortunate lass. Who killed him? This fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime. I am ashamed of myself for ever doubting you. Yo, he's going to not guilty. But wait, who did it? With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Lady, you were wrong. You can't say that shit. No, don't end the trial. Who did the murder? Saints alive, all 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty. Let the trial continue. Who did the murder? I don't want the not guilty. I want to know who did it. We're victorious. Yeah. We've won?
Objection!
No. Yeah, get in here, buddy. Do your own. Van Zeeks? I don't... Every time this guy's on screen, I don't know what to fucking say. Every time you think this shit can't get weirder. If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. I mean, he's not wrong. Everyone's just voting on like, oh, I don't think he did it because he's so clean and nice. Like, I agree with Van Zeeks here 100%. We got the Tims. Hey, fresh Tims. The witness's last statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here on the police report. Well, maybe if you had shown me the police report before the trial, you weirdo. The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilded's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. He's right. But like, what? Oh my god, she did it when the smoke bomb went off. He did it when the smoke bomb went off. There was stuff in there when we looked. How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, counsel? Actually, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend. Dude, I'm with you, Van Zeeks. What the hell? The carriage was submitted as evidence. Doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of law. Pray, what did you find to be the condition of the under-seat compartment? Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Go ahead, you tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zeeks. Ooh! Ooh, Mr. McGilded! Ooh, you slimy piece of shit. Wait a minute, I hate him now. Obviously, I'm gonna tell the truth here. How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat of the omnibus? Yeah, this case has become a lot better. I mean, it wasn't empty. I know that. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense, but as far as I remember at least... I wonder if you get a different path here if you just didn't look. Fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes? Ada be whist. What are you saying now, you daft daw? I thought you were on my side here. I'm on the side of justice, weirdo. I'm on the side of the law. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? I'm here for justice. As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and as honestly as possible. Interesting. It's not altogether pleasing, fella. That's okay, dude. You're gonna fry for this. I'm simply telling the truth, McGilded. Don't forget you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious ting and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. The cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Why do I feel like something's not right here? The jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. I agree. Get this guy in a noose. I'm with you, Dagon. The compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. I mean, we could just ask. Could we not just ask the carriage driver? Like, call that guy in and say, hey, was there stuff in there? The guild's rules state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. Yeah, Beppo isn't that irresponsible, exactly. The money-lending fleecer and the pick purse here are lying. That one's interesting because I could see different paths if I say I don't know or if I didn't look, right? I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers, nothing but cowards, the lot of them. It was a trick? Of course it's a trick. McGilded, did you stab that guy? Quite so, I must concur here. I hate these jurors. They're so fucking dumb. With calm, calculated reasoning... Lady, you've changed your mind like 2 times now. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. I agree, Van Zeeks. Before we proceed any further, there is the matter of outstanding cross-examination. I mean, I gotta say, I feel like, based on the mechanics of the law that have been presented here, as soon as it hits not guilty, that's just where it ends, right? That's how it worked with guilty. We hit not guilty, now, we win. That's the cutoff. The whole balance of the trial just shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey's at work? No, we just didn't lie, Ryunosuke. That's all. Your professor said he once went to court as a technical professional stuff. He spent 2 hours explaining what an if statement is. Yeah. Where's the time? What did I press? What did I press here?
Hold it!
Let me hear about this. So, you were already in the omnibus before it started its run. Well, yeah, I mean, what's the point of spending a joey to make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, isn't it? No one actually talks like this. I don't believe you. So she means there's no point in spending money to make money. It actually makes sense. That's wait until you guys find out about the stock market. May I remind you that this girl is a petty theft, or petty thief. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making it 20, which the cabman testified, and 1 scape-a-grace riding for free. Scape-grace. A mischievous or wayward person, especially a young person or child. A rascal. The red conch of a driver always goes for some grub before his last run, see? So that's when I slip into the carriage and get myself hidden under the seat. Nice and easy, right? And places a storage compartment full of equipment for the coach. Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. Yet according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. That's interesting. It's a right waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles. You didn't rob anyone that night, lady? Most nights I'm on me own and the God permit at least some of the time. Well, most nights I'm on me own and the God permit at least some of the time. Most nights, I'm on me own in the God. Permit at least some of the time. So I'm assuming that this means that she's usually alone in the carriage? Yeah, pardon me? Did you say God permit? That's what me kind call it. You'd say the omnibus. Okay, I see. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. That's when you come out of your hiding place to get away. That's it, only that night. This cove was sat on me seat from the start. Yo, they say cove in Final Fantasy XIV. They continuously say this word in Final Fantasy XIV. It drives me mad. I almost stopped being a rogue for this shit. I couldn't hear him say cove anymore. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck. You mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the whole time while events unfolded in the cabin. Yeah. Right, mister. To be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find a child, now do you? It's called pregnancy, dude. So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. This is the one that I'm really interested about, the thud. No, the next one's the one I'm interested about. Couldn't see out into the cabin at all. Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with me head and look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one, see? Most of the time the passengers plan themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. And for that reason you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out. I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. But it's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Obson's choice. Obson? Doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open? I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. Anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had to just stick it out under there, nothing else. Obson.
Hold it!
When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream involuntarily. That's right. And I felt the cushion over me head get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up, yeah. Or not. Could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim. I mean, but then what was the thud? Yeah, I saw it. What? Pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? Harrison was sitting up the bloke what had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. Okay, that sounds right. But then the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. Too late by then, I should have never risked looking. Because of that, this swell found me. He did help me get away.
Hold it!
And when Mr. McGill discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. The scared stiff I was, he dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to a fucking dead body. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Oh, what? Then the carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me. What? What? Both me and Anne's got covered in blood. It made me feel sick as a dog. Okay, so she's the one that they saw with two hands covered in blood. Oh, high five and cry. Hello. Still crying? Good question, Kat. Then I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while. He asked me some stuff. What? Wanted to know me name and what I was up to in there. Okay. Then I heard something from above. Someone screamed. Yeah, tips Fedora. I didn't want no one seeing me face, so I didn't look up. And the horses were drawing up smartish, and this your Irishman says to me, "Get back onto the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." Yeah, it still could have been him, right? All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one moment, clear that they are all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testimony, I'm sure we would clinch the verdict we want. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. Okay, so this is one where we have to look. This is the first one of these that we've actually had to do. So this is her testimony, and we have to choose. One of these has a contradiction in it. I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses. It was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles. Can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. After a while, I heard this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of my skin. I did, and the scream just came out. Because of that, the swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. So this is our first actual have to guess and figure out what we're gonna say, because every other one they've made it very obvious what it is, right? So let's consider. After a while, I hear this loud bang, nearly jumped out of me skin I did, and the scream just came out. Hemorrhaging, single stab wound. Photograph of the victim taken on the omnibus. The knife in his abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partially obscured from view by an old crooked hat. Leather gloves the defendant was wearing at the time of the incident. There's a blood stain on the right glove. 8-seater omnibus that was the scene of the crime. There were the passengers both inside the carriage and on the roof of the deck. Largest knife that was found lodged in the victim's abdomen. Its quality and fancy ornamentation suggest it must be quite valuable. I want to see if there's anything else that I can get out of this. I think it's just going to tell me it has Bruce Fairplay in it. I want to check. Okay, yeah, nothing else for this. Gotcha. I want to save. That the swell found me. He did help me get away. She screamed. What is the lie here? Let's narrow it down. I don't think this is a lie. I don't think this is a lie. I don't think this is a lie. Hear this loud bang. He did help me get away, mine. I'm gonna go back in this thing. Wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side. An English gentleman will be dressed in such finery. And then a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes on my right, fellas. Has a handle. Stuff's gone. Blood pool here, blood pool there. That's blood. This thing is still obvious. Benziques has made no mention of it. You think it's like different blood? Maybe two people died in here? I don't know what this is. And this loud bang nearly jumped out of my skin. Hell, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's 4, it might be 5. Yeah, like, what's the... what is it? What is it, though? Anyway, jumped out of me skin, heard this loud bang. His face is partially obscured. Bloodstain on the right glove. Passengers both inside and on the roof. Ooh, that's a good point. How did she fit in there? But when we pressed her on that, they did basically just say, we're not getting any more out of this. Just nice quality and fancy ornamentation suggests it must be quite valuable. Huh. This is a toughie. I want to look at each of these. It snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. Other gloves the defendant was wearing at the time of the incident, there's a blood stain on the right glove. I'm gonna look at this again as well. One more quick peek, right? What was in here that they wanted to clear out, I wonder? There were 2 screens? Well, yeah, the one screen was Tip's Fedora. Was a case some random gears that filled like a third of the thing. Yeah, I was wondering if maybe there was like a pattern in the bloodstain I was supposed to notice, maybe? But that doesn't seem right. This is a real thinker. Cash, you gotta sleep. Have a good night. Okay, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna flag a few ideas I have here, and we're gonna kind of work through them, okay? So I think you could flag Omnibus for this one, Omnibus 1, if you want to write that down. I think that you could present this, and the angle that they might want you to go for is it's not possible that she could have fit in there, but the stuff is missing from it, so I don't feel great about that one. Idle waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I don't think... Well, maybe there's something here. Let's not rule it out. Maybe she got the knife? Yeah, I don't think we have any evidence for 2. I agree. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. So we could potentially present the carriage for this as well. There's clearly a lamp in here. I don't think it's that. After a while, I hear this loud bang nearly jumped out of me skin. So I think we have to present what the bang is. My feeling here is that we need to present to them what is the loud bang. I want to press her again here. I think I might present the picture. I want to hear this again. When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. Chillin', buddy? He's chilling. Don't remember so well. The point is, it made me jump. He let out an involuntary scream. That's right, and then I felt the cushion over my head get lighter all of a sudden. And it got up to help the victim. Or not, it could have equally been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim. See what happened at the crucial moment. Yeah, I saw it. Pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance. Irishman was sitting up the bloke what had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. But then the fellow suddenly turns around and looks right at me. Too late, I should have never risked looking. Huh.
Hold it!
When Mr. McGill discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. Scared stiff, he dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, bloke had a knife in his guts, he was still bleeding. Carriage lurched a bit, he ended up falling onto me. Both me ends got covered in blood, it made me feel sick as a dog. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGill did. He asked me some stuff, he wanted to know my name and what I was up to. Then I heard something from above, someone screamed. Well, I didn't want no one seeing my face, so I didn't look up, and the horses were drawn up smartish. Get back under the seat, I'll see they can't get to you later. They don't give you any hints here. Okay, I'm gonna start throwing stuff out. We're gonna save and we're gonna start throwing stuff out. I think that the piece of evidence is the carriage, and I think that this is like, I think it's this. I'm gonna go for it. I think it's this. I don't know why. This is what I'm gonna go for. No, okay. One-on-one with the carriage. I'm gonna use 3 lawyer HP to present the carriage on 3 different things. I feel pretty confident it's the carriage.
Objection!
No, the music didn't stop. You know in these games when you got it right because they cut the music. One more. No, please, let me present this.
Objection!
Music didn't stop? Okay. So it's not the carriage on any of those 3. Maybe it's I think it's the picture then. So like, oh, Xanth, you think it's the knife and there was nothing stolen? It's a worthy try. I was thinking this as well as a potential option.
Objection!
Nope. Let me look at the picture of the guy. That's a good idea. Let me look at the picture of the guy.
Objection!
Oh, I just presented it. I meant to look at it. Oh well. I want to try also, like, this is a bit of a stretch, but it's light in the cabin, and she says it's hard to see, so maybe it's this?
Objection!
No, it's not this. Dude, I do not know what the hell this is. I wanted to reason through this and have that big aha moment, but... Dude, I have no clue what they want here. The magnifying glass? I think you just use this to zoom in on things, right? Ligma. Yeah, we can go through and press on the other three. Yeah, she was saying she couldn't see in the cubby under the seat, yeah. I'm gonna press these three. So you were already in the omnibus when it set off for its run. Yeah, I mean, what's the point in spending a joey to make a few bob? That's a rum idea. Yeah, don't spend money to make money. Let's clear up the little mystery of the fares, 4 passengers. Yeah, like, everything that she says here makes sense. One place is a storage compartment full of equipment, but this equipment is missing now. Brushes and buckets and whatnot, I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner, no one ever bothers. But there was stuff in there, but we don't know, yeah. Right old waste of time, I got nothing to show. Why is that? Most nights I'm on me own and the god permit. Some of them, yeah. Okay, the omnibus. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. You come out of your hiding place and get away. Only that night, she couldn't get out because there was the guy sitting on her seat. He didn't budge. The seat the entire time. Right, mister? To lift the cushion he missed out on. Do you think it's like she should have robbed him?
Hold it!
Why was it a bad night? She had a super rich guy there. Why didn't she rob him? Just as I push the cushion up with my head and look out the crack, well, the butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. And have a look, the seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one's seat. Most of the time the passengers plan themselves opposite. For some reason this night this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over my head. I'm gonna push the cushion up to peek out. I'm too happy in small dark. Oh, what? Pardon me? That didn't happen last time. Excuse me, video game? I had to press them all. You have to press them all a second time? Gross. I didn't like that. Is something wrong, Mr. McGilden? Oh, I do apologize. Was there something the matter, Counsel? I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no, 'twas nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad, shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. You see, yes, I'm sure we can all sympathize. Aye, and I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seems that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe. What? Did you hear something that night? An unusual noise? What? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. But Javers, there's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. What a pity. Only Miss Lestrade had heard something that might have given us a vital new clue. Didn't she say it's profoundly important? Didn't she say she heard someone fallen to the floor? My lord, I believe this statement just made by the witness is profoundly important. All she said was that she heard nothing. I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern mind. Nevertheless, Miss Gina Lestrade, supplement your formal testimony by repeating the last statement. Yeah. Don't give me all your fancy talk. It won't work on me. Yeah. It took me years to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring. And then I can press this. We were straining to hear what was happening the entire time since the moment you hid yourself. Not exactly. There was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher's to see what was what. Then when I saw the swell getting on, I got me head down so he didn't notice me. Mr. McGill had sat on the seat under which you were hiding. Yeah, would you Adam and Eve it, eh? What a mug. But then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard him leave, see? But would he? Not likely. Even though we stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market. Snoring like an old dog he was. Any conclusions we can draw from that? No one else said they stopped, right? Like, no one else said they stopped. Oh, yeah, true. Mr. McGilded was the first one on, and nobody... Yeah, that doesn't add up. You're right. Someone else had to get on. Really at odds with the facts. Are you sure, man? Seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. Van Zeeks is with me here. Bonk. Also, must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence or some complicit party's name at the very least. Demonstrate the alleged contradiction to the court. According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGill snoring. But think, Ryunosuke, think. There's something else she should have heard. I would like to show a person here. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. And by the presence of the following person. Thrice-fired Mason.
Take that!
Thrice-fired Mason? Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear. Is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. Order! Order! Love this guy. I didn't think they'd give me a judge to top Judge Boomer from the first 3 games, but I love this guy. Explain your reasoning, counsel. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? The next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded. Yeah, having to press twice kinda sucks. You just have to go through it if nothing makes... So, the mechanic of this game is if it doesn't seem like any of the evidence works, you have to press everything a second time to see if you get a pursuit. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard, not in plain sight. So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. I saw him get on, there's a crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own, for sure. From what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't it? Waiting for this swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts. Yeah, he's right. But why would she lie about not hearing anyone get into the cart, right? Like, she must be mistaken, or that is the truth, right? Lord Van Zeeks. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. Heh. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. Hey, what are you talking about, dude? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths and nothing more. I mean, I don't know about that, brother. He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever. And this girl is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. Bro, I hate this mechanic. Arg. I didn't want to judge the dear little knight just because she has some rather naughty ways, but I must say, can't abide liars, and neither can I. Didn't want to judge the girl just because she has some less than salubrious ways, but I cannot abide liars. Who's left? The maid? Arg. Mr. Naruhodo, that's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty. This is cup number 4. Bottle number 3. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. Through the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing. Ag. Arg, what are you playing at? If you've forgotten who you're working for, ye useless Eastern, I'm gonna make sure this isn't a slur. This is an Irish or Gaelic word for a male idiot or fool. This is carnage. Yo, juror number 3, I need you to never stop. Stop. Juror number 2 is the only one left. The way this is going, can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGilded's innocence, the judge will rule and will have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen, but those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Yeah, wait a second, lady. There's clearly more to this. Juror number 3, get away from me. Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. Counsel! I'm sorry, sir. Whatever do you mean? Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prorogue my adjudication. Prorogue. Discontinue a session of, without dissolving it. Huh. Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet, the victim's body was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? Dude, I have no fucking idea. Oh no. I mean, it has to be that he was put in there after he died, right? Obviously, the victim must have been placed in the carriage after he was killed. Yeah, we know there's no other entrance. Tell me, my learned friend, what was the function of that obviously in your last statement? Yeah, I don't remember. Well said, Lord Van Zeeks. The obviously is troubling me also. Answer me this. How could a cadaver have been placed inside a moving carriage? Obviously, but to penalize the defense. What? That was wrong? What? So it's... Hang on. Let me... There's nothing underneath. But we also checked this. It doesn't open, right? Oh, it doesn't open from the inside. And the loud thud was his body falling from up here. Oh, shit. That's why it seemed louder than if he had just fallen from the chair. I get it. There's another entrance. The door wasn't open even once. The only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin from another way. I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door, the other has only windows. Fixed windows which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door. Incorrect. But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin. Alright, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. It's here. Boom. You used a portal gun. Nah, the wall didn't. There was no way you could put a portal there. The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight. I say, the skylight.
Objection!
Love this guy's objection. Your ludicrous proposal has me almost lost for words. However, shut up, bitch. The skylight may well be large enough for a person to pass through. So you claim, but do you have a shred of evidence to support your addled brain theory? Shit, dude, I'll jump through that bitch right now. Let me go. Both Mr. McGilded and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor. None of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with the dagger. But would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise that the witnesses described? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry. Yeah? Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment the victim made his entrance into the cabin. Now let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it. You're now suggesting that the victim fell. He Fortnite dropped in from the skylight where we drop in Tilty Towers, corrupted carriage into the cabin. That's simply impossible. Okay, well, I mean, source? If the victim had fallen inside through the skylight as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Yeah. Hold it. Oh, he said hold it. Might a humble fella make a wee comment here? Huh? To be sure now, the two fellas who were sat on the roof that testified afore said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much a case of them not saying, but 'tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. They do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened, though. Would yous not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Oh my goodness. Those two chaps on the roof? You mean the ones who stuck that knife in the man were... Arg. Hold it. Hey, there they are. Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer? You cannot rush the witness stand like this, my man. Are you okay? You rodder. He said, you rodder. What are you insinuating? Yeah, this man just became a horse. This is a flaming outrage. I have a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute. He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said, and so will I. Mr. Fairplay, please do not threaten assault on my defendant. You're effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and well-respected banker, and me, a very angry hatter. He's the Mad Hatter! This twist of events has turned him into the Mad Hatter, suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. It's arg. I protest in the strongest possible terms. That's right, I protest too about you, you rotten scoundrel. Back to just standing normally. I'm gonna do a cactar impression, but he's trying to do a cactar impression, but he's only doing it off of what he's read they look like. Order! 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 This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once. Get the fuck out of here, dudes. It's very hurtful, you know. My lord, if I may comment. It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof. Yeah, I just insinuated it. Your command of the English tongue is wanting. You proposed to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen as liars. You have intimidated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation. He's not wrong. I know I was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get them to testify. There was something fishy about that hat from the moment I saw. If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once. Stand by. Stand by. You know the court proceeding is going well when everyone in the audience is fucking chanting. Stand by. Stand by. I love this. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? Sasato? I have no fucking idea. The spectators in the public gallery are in a complete frenzy. I'm gonna crank it. Stand by. Stand by. Stand by. Stand by. Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First, my lord, you will take the stand again and make another formal testimony in reference to the indictment brought by the defense. Yes, my lord. I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keeping pushing forward.